In 1997, they filmed a documentary in Longview, Texas called Hands on a Hard Body. At Jack Long Team Nissan, they had a contest where if you kept your hand on a truck and you were the last one standing, you won the truck. It's a great documentary. They had to cancel the contest a few years after this, but that's another discussion. But in this contest, there was a gentleman who was there to support his wife, and this always stuck with me. But he bragged to the interviewer about how he had a 20-ton AC inside his house. Now, I don't know how big his house is, but I can guarantee you it wasn't big enough to support a 20-ton AC, because you do not want too much tonnage blowing through your air or blowing through your home. Your air conditioner is designed to run. It's not designed to just blow out cold air. It's designed to pull moisture out of your air. And so he bragged that he bought a 20-ton AC cooling his house, and I can guarantee you with 100% certainty his house was covered in mold. A 20-ton AC unit is for a 12 to 20,000 square foot house, or actually that would be commercial at that point. And so he said it's cold enough to cool the Kmart over there, which I looked up that Kmart and it was about 100,000 square feet. So he was a little off, but not by much. He would need 5 of those to cool that Kmart across the street, but the point still stands. So I wanted to show you 3 properties that I've looked at that had ACs that were too big for the space that they were cooling. The first one was one where they had mold on the ceiling. You can see right here, I took a relative humidity reading, and I'm pointing this up because the higher up in this room, the higher the relative humidity was. But it was at 68%, which is astronomically high for a house. You want your house to be at like 50 to 55%. And so you can look at these next couple of pictures. He had mold everywhere, all over the top. And I was racking my brains like, how does this guy have mold all through his ceiling and only on his ceiling right now? And then about halfway through the inspection, he, just like the guy in Hands on a Hard Body, bragged that he had like a 5-ton AC unit cooling this basically 1,000 square foot area of his house. And it just clicked. It was like, okay, there you go. That's your problem. So one of the fixes for this was he could install a dehumidifier, or he could buy an AC that fits this property in general. So the next one that I went to is heartbreaking. This is a sweet little lady who lived in an apartment, and she rented it, and it was 1,500. It was a 1,500 square foot apartment. And, I give everyone the benefit of the doubt. People don't know how AC tonnage works. You're probably learning this right now while you're watching this video, but together she had 7.5 tons cooling her 1,500 square foot apartment. Now, 7.5 tons is enough to cool a 3,500 to 4,500 square foot property. So it was like double, maybe even more than double than what she needed. But she called me and said that it felt like the mold was eating her brain, which is a heartbreaking thing to hear someone say. And so I came out and I did an inspection, and we took an air sample in the bathroom, and the bathroom was between the 2 AC zones. So it was getting less dehumidification than the other parts of her house. So the worst part was in her bathroom, but she ended up having Penicillium aspergillus inside her bathroom, and she was breathing 41,000 spores per square meter. Now, I like to see that number at 500 or below, and she was at 41,000. And that's why she felt like her brain was being eaten by mold. I mean, what do you say to that? It's like, okay, here's the evidence right here, but take a look at what her bathroom looked like. This is her cabinet, and it's covered in mold. So every time she was reaching in there to get something out, she was just blowing spores in her face. This was the cabinet where she kept her toilet paper and her towels. It's almost, 1/8 of an inch thick right there, maybe more. But every time she reached up for a towel, every time she replaced her toilet paper, she had thousands, tens of thousands of spores just pumping right into her face. So thankfully she was able to move out. She blamed her landlords. I can't blame the landlords. They don't, people don't know this stuff. And like I said, I like to give everyone the benefit of the doubt. So the third one was one that I did recently, and they had the house, they bought the house when it was built, and the AC that the builder installed was 5 tons. Well, they have a 2,100 square foot house. And so for 2,100 square feet, you need a 3.5 ton. So she had been battling mold for years. This is mold all over her shoes. She said she had already gone through her closet last year and cleaned everything out, and the mold was already back. You can see it here all over her cabinet. And then in her laundry room, it was all over the built-in cabinets right here. I mean, it was everywhere. And I felt so bad for her, but it's a simple solution. You just have to have an AC that fits the square footage of the house that you have. Here's a video of what her AC did when I unscrewed the bottom screw on the panel. This is not supposed to happen. I'll let this run for a second. But she had, not only was her AC too big, but her AC was clogged and it wasn't draining properly. And so she had water pooling inside of her AC to the point where every time she turned her AC on, she's just blowing humid air throughout her house. So it was a double whammy. And again, there's nothing she could do to fix this. I felt so bad for her. I mean, there's nothing she could have done to prevent this. She had no idea. She just bought a house and thought that everything was done like it was supposed to. So if you're having mold issues, this might be one of the problems. And if you're picking an AC out for your house, make sure you talk to the AC guy about getting the right tonnage for your square footage. And if you're having a mold issue, please give me a call, 903-900-MOLD. I'll help you as much as I can.